Live. It's Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. It must be Cageside Live. Welcome to the show. It's Monday night. My voice is still jacked, so that's fun. Gabriel Gonzalez, Alex Mahinan, doing the damn thing. Both of you boys were at 279. Wild weekend. I was there for Wednesday and I bailed out. Alex, we were actually talking about it before the show. He's like, dude, you were there for Wednesday, you left, and then shit popped off. And it's just like, damn. Like, yeah, you're right. But
you're the glue holding it together.
Yeah, I left and everything hit the fan. Starting here with Gabriel, like going from Thursday during the press. I'm assuming you guys couldn't hear anything, up front because it's so loud in there. But when Dana comes out and says, "Yeah, stuff popped off in the back. This is canceled," what were your first thoughts, Gabriel?
I mean, there was something off. First off, they told me, okay, everyone's actually here on time. Like, we weren't waiting a long time for Nate like you guys were. I'm sorry. It was like 4:02, and they're like, no, everybody's here. And I'm like, oh, like, this is about to be nice. We're about to just get it rolling. None of this, I'll be honest. I've been to some of them. We're waiting there a long time, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm ready to go home. This day needs to be over now. We got stuff to do tomorrow. It's early weigh-ins. So when Dana comes out and there's no announcer saying UFC president Dana White, you knew something was going on. And then when it comes off like, oh, they're going to come out in twos, it's like, well, we don't really care what they have to say. Dana, what's going on? And then when he gave us nothing, to me, I'll be honest, as a media, even as a fan, I was just like, well, what are we all doing here? And that made me see it from the point of view of the fans, like, what did we just sit here for? Doors opened at 3. Maybe you got off work early, so I just saw it from that point of view. I didn't think this like, oh man, like what could happen? Someone got into a fight. It's a fight in jeopardy. I felt like we didn't get that impression, although it's like, all right, well, some stuff popped off and now we all wasted an afternoon.
So when you guys go back there and because you guys had that scrum, by the way, you were on the promo there, Gabriel. I think you were in it too, Alex. I can't remember, but when you guys go to the back, start here with Alex, and you guys set up for a Dana White scrum. Did you already know what happened, or did you have any details or anything?
I had heard somebody had told me that Khamzat and Holland had gotten into it, and so I mean, for them to cancel a press conference, I was thinking, like, dude, like, they must have had a fucking riot back there. And Khamzat's, like, calling in all this Chechen, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a fucking, like, riot. And soon to find out, it wasn't really that bad. I don't know. I mean, I get why they. I think I get why they did it. Just safety. Like Dana said, like we were unprepared. So I think obviously he was looking for the safety of their fans, of the people, of the fighters. So I get why he did it, but like, did he really have to do it? Like that's the real question.
And that is the question, right? And because Gabriel, when I heard this, like for the safety, right? For safety, I was like, all the rumors came out flying. Someone had a gun, someone had a knife, someone got stabbed, someone got knocked out. I was like, first of all, who's putting all this stuff out? But regardless, my first thoughts were, okay, if Nate and his guys are at all involved, something was thrown, water bottles were thrown, people were slapped, called bitches and all, and busters and all this other stuff. And then I remembered, oh yeah, UFC 202. Nate strolls in and out throwing stuff at McGregor. And McGregor grabs the big ass monster cans, sponsor us, and just chucks them back. Right? So, Gabriel, that's what I thought. And so I was like, okay, that must be what Dana White's thinking here.
I asked everybody back there, the ESPN people, the broadcast partner people, was there blood? All of them. There was no blood. And I think that Dana, I'm not going to lie, I think that Dana found himself in a bit of a corner because he knew all of the broadcast partners and all the backstage people have footage. They have clips. So while playing it coy will kind of, let's be honest, he knows what he's doing. Even if it wasn't, we heard it. It wasn't a master plan. But the fact is, people thought it was like a scene from Locked Up where the prison, the inmates go and riot back there. No. It really was just more, you have 50-some Nate Diaz team 30-some Khamzat people. I don't know. It felt like compared to them, Holland maybe just had a single household of people in there. The fact is, you do not have enough security if all those guys are riled up. That's what it came down to. It wasn't that there was this, oh my gosh, serious violence that people experienced back there. But obviously, when Dana tries to play a coy, he let that fire burn as long as he could.
And then Alex, he actually rolled with it afterwards. They made it into a promo. Like that's how. Like, and I was telling people, I'm like, that's how you know Dana White wasn't really that mad about it. He threw that shit in the promo. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. He knows how to promote.
I mean, they had to sell the fight somehow, or tell the story of how it happened. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah. So okay.
By the way, for people who weren't there and don't know, leading up to it, there was no indication that there was something serious. In fact, obviously, look, Kevin Holland, he was part of it, right? He comes out to talk to us. Darren Till and the Block Acid crew. He has just about every notable Swedish fighter besides Jack Hermansson there with him. They're all chill. So there was not really a serious indication that there was this, I don't know, serious thing that popped off. Now I will say, and I understand people are coming off a 3-day weekend. It's hard to ask your boss for another afternoon off. Not too many fans for, oh, it's Nate, it's Khamzat. It was nowhere near like lower bowl filling up for a press conference.
Oh, there you go. And that made sense because you didn't see any footage of the crowd. Usually they zoom in on the crowd and all that. You got none of that. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, must not be that many people there. But all right. All right. So then move on. Friday morning, weigh-in time, and everybody was talking about it already. Everyone's like, oh, I'm hearing whispers of Khamzat's coming in heavy, and then he gets on the scale, 178.5. What was the I guess the tension in the room like there, Gabriel?
Well, to break the fourth wall, we knew something was definitely up because Kevin Holland is there at about 8:08. Yeah. Weigh-ins don't start till 9, and he is just clearly in a very impassioned phone call right outside the doors. That, to be honest, they're not tinted. We could see him clear as day right out there, about 15 feet away from us. So we knew something was up, and it wasn't hard to do the math that clearly it's not a rumor. There's definitely something going on with Khamzat, because who else would they be calling him about that he would be that, serious with, right? If Daniel Rodriguez was just, oh, hey, this fight is off, Holland probably would have been like, put me someone next week. So we knew it had to have been Khamzat, I think, in my opinion. But so when you see that, I think the only thing that surprised me was the attitude of Khamzat. I think we were all like, oh, well, we know this stuff is about to hit the fan, so how's he going to act? And he just kind of, the Paulo Costa fingers walked off, and it's like, yeah, I think a lot of us took it because it's like, bro, we didn't make you eat dinner last night. I was a little perplexed by his attitude coming off the scale as opposed to, oh my gosh, he was off. We all knew he was going to be off.
Alex, what was your take on it, dude? Because watching it happen, obviously I had it on, on the YouTube like everybody else did, and watching it happen, he gets on the scale and he had this look on his face, like, let's get this over with, but not in I'm upset, I'm unprofessional way. He did it in fuck you guys, I'm about to miss weight. And then afterwards, just, fingers and walk off. What was your take on it?
Yeah, that whole morning, it was just like you felt like a weird vibe, like something was off. Like Gabriel said, Kevin Holland was in there. I think he was looking for a fight. He was looking for something. And then when Khamzat comes on, it's just the way he was so nonchalant about it, and that's what rubbed everyone the wrong way. It just rubbed fighters. You saw them all get on social media and start talking shit because, of all the athletes I've talked to, the number one thing that they care about is you make weight. We sign a contract, you make weight. You make weight and you show up to fight. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And so him missing weight by that much and then just being nonchalant, kind of and then flipping off the camera. It's it was just very weird behavior. I don't know what was going on through his head. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I wish, and he wouldn't really talk about it in the post-fight press conference. Like people were asking about it, and he was just like, "Oh, I made weight before." He just like wouldn't answer a question of like what was going on through his head. So like that's what was like most frustrating about it, you know. So I don't know. It was just a weird situation, and because of that, he got booed out of the fucking building. His every time they showed him on the TV in the arena, booed. When he walked out, booed. When he won and was on the press conference, you heard I have never heard someone boo that bad. Yeah, so it's just crazy how the script was flipped, right? Like he came in, he's this new star, this new giant. Everyone loves him. He misses weight, acts like a buffoon. He's a villain. It's just crazy.
And now we have our next villain. What's up?
Just very WWE, and I get why people say, "Oh, this had to have been fixed," because it felt very WWE. Like, oh, this huge big name like does the thing that turns everyone against him, but you know he's still gonna do the damage, right? And to add that real quick before we move on, just also remember that as a vibe, the women featherweights, we were like, oh, are they about to miss? Both of them needed the curtain, so it's like, okay, so some like that there. Obviously, what does this mean for Tony and Nate? So now there's more tension when they weigh in, when D-Rod weighs in, Chris Barnett at the end, and then how about that, Hakeem? So it just made for a very like, oh my gosh, like how many curveballs are we actually going to get? By the way, most of that stuff, all before 10 o'clock. We still had another half of the weigh-ins to wait through, so it made for quite the interesting morning.
And it seemed like so everyone was trying to figure out, okay, what's the UFC's plan? Because there was a plan in place that morning, you know, sort of last second-ish. So, you know, hours. I mean, it was like hours. They announced it an hour before. They basically went and looked at Alex's Twitter and was like, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. You guys don't know. Alex, the night before this shit even kicked off, no one had missed weight yet. He goes,
jinxed, you know what? It.
He jinxed it, right? He jinxed it. He goes, you know what? Scrap Nate versus Khamzat. Nate, Tony, you know, like you called it straight on, and then that happened. And so because I saw your tweet, like maybe a little bit after you tweeted it the night before, and I was just like, man, that'd be dope. And the next day he misses weight. I'm like, holy shit, that might happen. So
when things haven't been agreed to, that's manifesting. When things already have been agreed to and they change, that's jinxing. And Alex Union. Hey, you know, okay, they talk about that 150 something, the card that Greg Jackson killed.
Yeah.
Let this be known. UFC 279 was the card that Alex Behunin jinxed.
You know what? It might have been for the better. Who knows?
The energy coming off that man to ruin everyone's plans on Friday morning was palpable. I do not think one media member, I do not think one member of the UFC PR staff did not know that Alex didn't want Nate versus Tony. He put so much of that energy into the universe, it was sickening. He wanted it more than Thanos wanted to snap out half the universe.
Oh, shit, boy.
I mean, I would call it a jinx. I would call it a manifestation and a...
That is a jinx, Behunin, and you know it. The level of energy you put out there.
I think it was a card saver myself, but I mean, come on.
We'll talk about that in a second. I got a double-edged sword for you, but you got what you wanted. You're a nice guy. I'm happy for you if that makes you feel better.
And look, it makes up for Dana White calling you a dick for asking him why it was a weak ass card like a week before. God, dude, I shit you not. People are hitting me up about it. Dude, did Dana really call Alex a dick?
Is he gonna get fired?
Yeah. No, they thought you were in trouble. Like, is Alex in trouble? I'm like, no, he's not in trouble. He's fine. Like, but Dana called him a dick. I'm like, he calls everybody a dick at this point. Like,
he called me a dick and laughed. That was the thing. The catch.
Yeah, had he called you a dick and just stone faced you, I'd have been like, "Oh, now Alex is in trouble."
Yeah. Then
if he called you that and PR sent you an email the next morning saying, "Yeah, we actually ran out of space for 279," then you would have known.
Yeah, exactly.
You wonder if some other media members have gotten that kind of email before, because I've seen some shit go down. But yeah,
they have. They'll tell you about it on Twitter.
Exactly. So, YouTube 279. They shuffled the card that right before the ceremonials, everything kind of works out. Nate says, he's afraid of him, Khamzat's afraid of me, yada, all that stuff. Come fight night, did it feel like a normal fight night, Gabriel, or did it feel like you were expecting something crazy to pop off?
Honestly, yeah. And no, sorry. I mean, when I say honestly, yeah, normal.
Okay.
It was a solid undercard, like Irene Aldana, that was an important fight for bantamweight. Johnny Walker, Jan Kutalaba, some damage is going to happen there. You have a Chris Barnett on the undercard. I'm familiar with Super Melly, so talking early prelims, her, Danielle Wolf. So it's like, okay, this is okay, decent pay-per-view card. Going in, we knew that the Tony Lee fight, D-Rod Holland fights were late additions, so it wasn't like I was expecting necessarily their best performances. If they go off, then hey, that's just icing on the cake. But I already knew the kind of card we had going into it. And so even with the deck shuffling, I was like, well, this is going to be like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. If it's a good one, it's a good one. If it's not, well, we already knew that it was kind of a little, pumped up, not with the freshest ingredients down the stretch anyway.
Right. Good point. Good point. So, Alex, this is the card that you wanted. You called for it. It happened. What was your end of the day? You look at the whole card, and we'll talk about the top 3 fights and whatever else you guys want to touch on the card in a second here. But what was your feeling at the end of the night? Like, was it worth it?
Yeah. Especially because if you really think about it, dude, like Li Jingliang would have fucked Tony Ferguson up, and Khamzat Chimaev would have fucked Nate Diaz up, and it would have been a horrible fucking main event. Like, so, I mean, I think it all panned out. The D-Rod Leach fight was boring, and you could argue, or I thought Li Jingliang won, but it was a close fight. Khamzat did what Khamzat did. I mean, he was going to do that. He was going to do that to anybody. But props for Kevin Holland for stepping up to fighting him on 24 hours notice. I'm going to guess a lot of fighters would not do that. And the main event was crazy. It was kooky. It was what you'd expect of a Nate Diaz versus Tony fight. Do I wish we would have got 3 months of promos, 3 months of build-up, 3 months of story? Fuck yes. 3 months of giving them a 3-month fight camp? Obviously, yes. Would I have wanted them to fight 5 years ago? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately, we got what we got. And it's just it's a perfect way for Nate to leave the UFC, man. Like, he goes out, instead of going out on a loss, getting dominated, he goes out with a win against another legend on a submission win, chokes him at 209. Like, he flexed. He was so happy at the press conference. Like, out of everything, like that's what makes me the most happiest is Nate got to go out with a win, and now he's gonna go make some big bucks boxing.
Oh, 100%. And he definitely should. It seemed that watching the Nate presser, a post-fight presser, it was like, it felt like relief.
Yeah.
Right. At the pre-fight, I felt
Eddie, I'm sorry. It felt chill.
There you go. Chill. Yeah. Chill. Right. Chill. It was like,
yeah.
But it was like chill. Like, all right, cool. Like, we're good. But like at the pre-fight, he was still chill, but it was more like let's get this over with type of deal. Like, let's get this fight over with so I can get it out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. So I honestly, I have expected him to bail on the post-fight. I really did. And when he showed up, I was like, okay, he has something. He wants to leave, on good terms and good impression and all that. So that was cool. All right. So the card itself, let's talk about the Jingliang D-Rod fight. We all had Lee winning that fight, right? Like, because I don't understand how they had. I didn't look at the scorecards. I don't know if you guys did, but it seemed to me like the judges didn't watch the fight, right?
Yeah, I mean that wasn't a blowout, but that. Look, you watch a fight, you see one guy who you feel did enough, all three. That was Leach, and like I said, not a blowout, but I felt that, and maybe that's a little bit TV versus right there 4 feet away from them, maybe, but yeah, I think that's just a pretty unanimous one. You have to be in their shoes to see what they were seeing.
And I'm assuming because him and D-Rod stepped up, well, all 6 guys stepped up to take different fights. That they're not gonna get like in trouble or anything. Like Tony, this is his 5th loss in a row, for example. I doubt he's gonna get cut off for that. He did him a huge favor. But yeah, what did you think of the? I mean, you had Lee winning there, Alex. What did you think of what did you think when they announced D-Rod as a winner?
I mean, it was close. It was a close fight. I mean, it was funny. Lee Jingliang got booed, right? Like he got booed walking to the cage, and then afterward, D-Rod got booed because bro, MMA fans are so fucking weird. Oh, god damn it! Why the fuck do you like this fucking sport? It's yeah. I mean, I wish these guys had more time, but I mean, fighting a completely different fighter on 24 hours notice, like D-Rod kind of already, like he said, I didn't go in with the game. Like I came in, went in the fight, and like that's kind of what they both did. Like they were just like, all right, we got locked into a cage. Let's best man wins.
There you go. All right, co-main event. This one was okay because we all thought, okay, a lot of people thought that Nate was gonna get mauled, right, by Khamzat in the main event. Instead, he gets Kevin Holland, and I don't know about you guys, but I saw an angry ass Khamzat Chimaev who seemed embarrassed, right? Like to me, at the weigh-ins, and he weighed in and he did all that bullshit, but to me, that was just hiding insecurity and embarrassment from missing weight like that. Regardless of why that happened, and he says or him and Dana said the doctor stopped it, whatever. Doesn't really matter at this point. But in the post-fight presser, he seemed to be like you said, Alex. He didn't answer a question like about the weight. He wouldn't do it, right? And so to me, it just seemed like embarrassment and a little bit of ego. I think he's really upset with himself for missing weight and all that. But it is what it is. The fight itself, real quick, when Kevin Holland comes up, puts 2 hands up to like high five him, and instead Khamzat shoots on him. All right, I answer from both of you: dirty or just unsportsmanlike?
That was dirty.
Yeah,
but you know what? Hey, protect yourself at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of it was dirty. But I mean, yeah, it's just like you knew that's how Khamzat starts every fight. So I think Kevin should have known better.
Yeah.
Also, if it was a different fight, okay, I'd say like, you know what? Nah, man, come on, you can't be bragging about this. You knew how much heat was going in. I missed it. Did they touch gloves? I can't remember, but it's like
they did when they did with the refs
when the ref called them up. Yep. Yeah. So to me, it just was one of those. It's like, I'm sorry, but you guys popped it off on Thursday. What did you think was going to happen? You guys are going to hug it out. Come on.
There you go. And then
Kevin, come on, man. Does Batman high five the Joker before they go to work? No.
Right. That's a good point. And then obviously afterwards, Kevin Holland wants the either D-Rod or I don't think he called that Lee, but he called that D-Rod for sure. So maybe they'll make that fight. All right. Then the main event, Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson. How do I put it? Like, Alex, you're right. This is about 5, 6, maybe 7 years too late. At the wrong weight class. That should have happened at 155. But we finally get the fight. Did it seem? I don't know, because watching it from home, it seemed to me like it was one of those like, all right, we respect each other. We're gonna put on a show, and then at some point we're gonna try and actually kill each other. Because I mean, there was times besides Tony chopping the shit out of Nate's lead leg, that thing was messed up. But Tony was Nate was like taking breaks on the side of the cage, putting his hands up like, okay, whatever, all that sort of stuff. It seemed like they were just putting on a show more than actually fighting. What did you think, Alex?
I mean, Tony said, "Bring your popcorn." That was quote. He said that after the weigh-ins. I mean, was it the most technical fight? Right? Like, I feel like MMA fans are so fucking spoiled nowadays that like they want every single fight to be like Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhager.
Right.
Just perfect technical MMA, bro. It's like, dude, you're fighting Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. You're watching two of the most unique personalities, most of the unique fighters on the roster. Like, like what do you expect, dude? And plus, they're old. They're old. They're at the end of their careers. Like what do you expect, right? So, I enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, yeah. Do I wish it would have they had a full training camp? Yes. Do they wish they fought in 2017? Yes. They didn't. It was fun. And yeah, it's going to be. I'm very blessed to have been there and watched it in person.
Gabriel, Tony Ferguson took his camp to as much of a camp as
Jackson.
he had to Jackson Wink. Afterwards, he said, no one's getting fired, no excuses, but I shouldn't have shot in. I don't know. Actually, you guys, I'm sure you guys were out there watching the fight, so you didn't hear the commentary. But they had a microphone in his corner, and his corners tell him, shoot, take him down. Like they told him, take him down. Like Gibson was right there telling him, take him down. And I remember thinking, like, that's not a great idea when you're doing really well, chopping up his lead leg. Just keep kicking the shit out of that thing and call it a night. RDA style. Do you think that maybe moving over there was I wouldn't call it a mistake, but maybe like not the right move for this fight?
Not at all. I think it was a great move. I think I would have supported it had he stayed with Leach. Had he been fighting anyone else, because I think that, like we talked about last week, I think he gets the attention he needs, and I think he's around enough smart and experienced people that you trust the advice he's getting it. It's just about him implementing it. So hearing that he is implementing what his coaches were saying, is that not what we think is part of the key to a resurgence for Tony? Yes. What I will say about the fight itself, though, I want to backtrack a bit. When I look at it, I'm like, okay, like if Cowboy starts doing that and he's in the middle of the card, featured prelim, okay. After all this stuff we've been through, and then you have Nate doing that, and he's just, I'm not going to lie, when he did that in the third round and he's just like walking off or something, part of me thought, is he trying to get himself disqualified, give the UFC one last middle finger? Like, it's already been a weird enough week, but when I saw that body language, there's no commentary. I'm like, I think he's really trying to do it. He's trying to give us one for the ages. Yeah. Imagine someone else ever doing that again. Probably will never see it for like 50 years, right? So for me, if you got the energy to do that, I'd rather you use that energy to try to take a guy out. I think of it as a paying customer. If I paid the $75 for it, look, ladies and gentlemen, I got paid to be there. I do remember what it's like to be the one to pay to watch it, and my product is not as electrifying as I hoped it was when I hit purchase on my television or now on my laptop for ESPN Plus. I think about as a paying ticket fan. So, on that note, after a weird week, it's kind of like, what did you expect was going to happen? Nate did Nate things. Tony couldn't do Tony things. And to go to your original question, yes, he should have shot. He was getting lit up that he was not going to win that fight on the feet. I think he figured that out by the end of the second round. First round, not the worst. By the second round, Nate was dialed in, feeling himself. I think that's what happens when you get about 5 more weeks training camp.
Right.
There we are.
There you go. No, that's a good point. All right, so other fights on the card real quick before we go, because I'm just like, before we move on. This one's big fight for bantamweight. Now, first of all, Chin's catchweight, Macy Chiasson. Thank you. She contacted Aldana's camp, said, hey, we're still at 142. We don't even make 140, but can we do a try catchweight at 140? Aldana's team apparently thought about it, as you were talking about, or you guys were back there at a post fight. They talked about it, decided to take the challenge, and it works out. That up kick, more like a heel down kick, but that up kick that landed to the liver. All right, she was confused. She didn't know what happened, right? Because Macy just drops. What did you guys think when it happened? Let's start here with the Gabriel.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think we were in the middle of a scrum. I low-key thought she got hit in the private chesson. So I was worried for a second. It's like, well, we don't see too many serious ones like that for the women often, right? So it's like, imagine, okay, when the guys' fights are canceled on low blows, imagine the Twitter reaction, a woman, right? It's like, oh, we haven't seen this before. then you watch the replay and you realize it's a perfect heel to the liver, and it's like, bravo, felicidades, Irene. You know, just pull that one out of the hat because it didn't look good for a minute there for Aldana. She started great, and it looked like, hey, this could still go either way. What was that, about midway through the third?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. No, when she, I thought she was going to finish that armbar in the first. I was like, oh, this is going to be quick enough for you. Then they call it a night and all that. And then when she got mounted, and then in the second round also got mounted and all that. That was just ugly. All right. So, and then, what was the other one? Shit. Oh, Johnny Walker.
Irene should fight for the title.
Yes.
Really depends on Amanda, and if Amanda really wants Ketlin, they'll go Ketlin Vieira, but it should be Irene. Even though Irene lost to Holly, been inactive, she's got the first round knockout on Ketlin.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Yeah. All right. So then the first fight on the pay-per-view, honestly, a great fight for as long as it lasted, Alex. Johnny Walker submission win. What do you think of this one? This is Johnny Walker. He called himself 2.0 when I talked to him. I'm Johnny Walker 2.0. I'm back. He had gotten his mind right, his nutrition right. He stopped doing the CBD thing, which to me is a wild story still. That the CBD messed with his head and everything. What do you see next there, Alex, for Johnny Walker?
It was completely insane that he was entered in this fight. That was free money to anybody who bet. That was insane. Yeah, and then he was fighting elite competition, right? That's so. I'm glad that he got a step down and Ian Cutelaba. So now he's gonna go right back. He's gonna fight someone like middle of the road. What should be next for him? Man, let me look at this. I mean, maybe like a Paul Craig. Paul Craig, maybe a.
You think Gus is the wrong guy?
Ooh, too soon now. Oh, actually, no. Did Gus retire?
I feel like they're going to give him one more in Sweden. It depends. But then, do they make Sweden happen, or does Gus say, you know what, let's do it. Let's go to Brazil. Let's go out, in the motherland of MMA kind of deal?
I wouldn't hate that fight. I wouldn't hate that fight at all. It's a winnable fight for both of them. But yeah, so yeah, Gustin or Paul Craig.
Excuse me. Cageside Press staff writer Val Dewar suggested Jimmy Crute.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, don't hate it.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. All right, then going on to the prelims here. Wow, excuse me. Sorry. Juicy J pulls off the win and says, hey, more guys should miss weight. I get paid more. That worked out. What did you think of the Jailton Almeida fight, Gabriel?
I mean, look, that dude, there's not too many guys with that slickness at heavyweight the way he does. I mean, even when you think about guys like, let's say, Verdum, just that flow, that speed for a guy that, look, obviously a catch weight for a reason. He could have put on more weight. He didn't. So I just like how he approaches it. I think he knows what his gifts are, and he leans into them, and I think he makes them work.
Oh, there you go. And Alex, I think you talked about his story quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. Chris Barnett with the first of all, great fight, just great fight. I thought it was gonna be fight of the night. They didn't do one to get performances around, but I thought if that was gonna be a fight of the night, it might have been that one. It was back and forth. Jake hurt him badly, had his eyes shut, and then Chris Barnett pulls it out of nowhere and does a little flip thing and everything. With the story Chris Barnett came in with, I mean, you know how it is, losing a fiance and all that. What'd you think of the win and Barnett? Because I wish you guys would have got him in the post fight. I know he got transported. That sucked because that would have been a great thing to talk to him about. But what'd you feel about the win and Chris Barnett?
It's just happy. I'm happy for him. Yeah, that's just all it is. I'm just so happy for him, man. He's had a fucking rough year. And I think he went on the MMA Hour today and was talking about his weight miss, and just that it was just kind of a mistake on his part. Obviously. So yeah, I mean, he definitely would have got 50K if he would have made weight. But
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just happy for him. And I mean, the sucky thing is like they're gonna have to keep giving him like keep giving him like low
Right.
bottom of the totem pole heavyweights. But I mean, fuck it, like give him some watched heavyweights and put him on a pay-per-view, and he's fun to watch, man. He's he came to the UFC super late in his career, obviously. But whatever. Enjoy him as long as he's here.
He danced his way to the cage, fought, danced his way back to the back. That dude's just a lot of fun, honestly.
Epic double fisting of the beers.
Right on the way out, just that shit was hilarious.
And he was drinking from both. That is a rare breed right there.
That's a big boy. He knows how to do it. Shit. All right. And then the early prelims is real quick on some of these fights. Gabriel, Norma Dumont, Danielle Wolf. Norma wants Aylin Perez. And because I guess Perez has been talking a little bit, Perez just got in, so that's just wild. But what do you think of Norma saying, "Look, if they're not gonna give me a title shot, like give me Perez"?
So my one thing about that going in was that Norma probably would have it, and I wouldn't say nothing except she lost to Macy Chiasson. So it almost makes me feel like, respectfully, had Macy beaten Irene, you could have said Macy is #1 contender at 45 and 35. And this speaks to the conundrum of the 45 division. Just how much do you take into account the wins and losses, or is it just who do we like coming off a win to fight Amanda? Now, by that criteria, by all means, let's do it. However, going back to it, if you're Norma, now it's really like, does Amanda like you, or does Amanda prefer 35 Ketlin, 35 Irene, 35 Pena #3, 35 Shevchenko, because Norma said, well, I want to make 45 my thing. That is a lot harder than any other weight class in the UFC because of the whole, depth and all that on the roster for 45. But yes, if Amanda wants to defend the 45 belt, there's really not really anyone but Norma.
That's a good point. And I think she was like won the title shot and all that stuff. But I think she's like maybe like a fighter weight or two. Although 145, the skeleton crew.
I fight with who else? Someone at bantamweight who moves up. That's my thing about it, is that technically yes, but then technically, I mean, even the other 45ers, who do we have? Who do we have exclusive to 45? I believe Leah Letson. Macy bounces back and forth. Other featherweights, I feel like we just seen them bounce back and forth. Aspen was trying to go back down to 35, so it's like, by elimination, yeah, technically it should be Norma. But once again, the rules just don't apply to that women's 45 division.
Right. No, it's 100%. Yeah, because it's, I don't know. They need to find more 45ers, man. All right, and then the other fight to talk about here, very, very quickly, Alex. Elise Reed has a nasty right hand. That's all I want to say. That, Melissa Martinez, first of all, we all knew about her kickboxing pedigree and the quickness of everything. She's probably more atom weight than she is straw weight, but she came in on fire, man, dominant, like super confident, and then gets dropped with the right hand and at least took her over the rest of the way. What was the feeling from Elise after the fight, in obviously in the post-fight interview, but also in the presser? Because the last couple times she fought, she had this kind of like, F you attitude. And then at the end of this one, she was like, I'm here, whatever that means. What was your feeling from Elise?
Yeah, she was doubted. She had Super Melly had all this hype. Everyone wrote off Elise Reed, and she came up and showed out. So I think it was just kind of like a big, like, I'm here, like, don't just count me out. So I'm happy for her.
Gotcha. All right, let's
to keep in mind, Super Melly had to wait out getting out of her Combate contract, so she kind of got forced onto the sidelines, because I think that she knew she was looking to, move on, because she hasn't fought since, I believe, 19, maybe early 2020.
I think you're right. Yeah, so that was a weird one, and she took a long time, but either way, great. Honestly, I don't think she would have lost any stock. I think she's going to come back. Everyone's going to be excited to watch her fight again. All right.
Also, she's pretty tall. I think atomweight's a tough cut. But yeah, I get it. You know, she's not the most, you know, just built straw weight that we have out there.
Yeah, she's not very thick, but I think she could build her body up a little bit more. We'll see. All right, moving on. Just very quick about this weekend. So, just to kind of get it out of the way. Not the most stacked card ever. So, main event, Corset hanging Sonya Dong. Real quick, Alex, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it's a fun fight. If Song Yadong doesn't finish Corey Sandhagen quick first couple rounds, I think it's just going to be a 5-round, just a 5-round technical fight. But I got Corey.
You got Corey. Who you got, Gabriel?
Same. Just like he said, it's like, I get it. I don't look like it, but I got that gangster. I think he's going to do gangster things stylistically. I think he's just got the game for Song. Like Alex said, Song's really got to take it to him early and make something happen. Otherwise, it feels like, 25 minutes, I don't see that one going his way.
100%. All right, other fight on the card, Chitin Jaquani against Gregory Rodriguez. Obviously be good. Andre Feely still fighting against Bill Algeo. Tanner Bozer, for some reason, I watch when he fights because I don't know what to expect ever in that one. Then let's see what else is on. What other fights you guys or what's one fight you guys want to see on this one?
Damon Jackson versus Pat Sabatini. I love that.
At the Aspen fight, just obviously with everything at bantamweight, it's just like, okay, is this more important than it may look like on paper? And by the way, shout out my dude RoboCop. That dude will bring it. I think he's really hitting his stride, and I think that he wins this one. He sets himself up for a really big 2023. And also becoming a father later this year. So congrats to him.
Congrats. That was fun times. All right. This is weekend. Main card kicks off, I guess, at 4 o'clock. So probably that's an early card.
Actually, I thought is it? Oh, it is. Okay.
It looks like an
because
early
I think
card.
they moved it. I think on UFC.com they still have it as 7. I may have read that wrong, but also
you're right. 4 o'clock is the prelims.
Okay. Yeah, I find that weird because being a fight night, it feels like the perfect card to actually make early because they're gonna run head to head with Canelo.
That's 100% true. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's an early card.
You think so? All right, we'll find out.
Did they move it? Yeah. Like I said, I'm assuming they just haven't updated UFC.com, but yeah.
I love the other card because I'm watching the Canelo fight, so hopefully it is an early card. I don't want to miss Canelo.
Yeah. All right. 4 o'clock main card.
Oh, okay, dope.
Perfect. There we go.
All right. To close the show, we're talking about some very sad news. We lost Mr. Elias Theodorou, 34 years old. Unexpectedly, because no one knew. He kept his battle with liver cancer very private, and he passed away at home. I believe at home in the hospital with friends and family around him and everything. So, really, because I remember I talked to someone put it in the Slack. And Jay said, and turns out Jay's from the same town as him. Cageside Jay, I Cageside Jay on Twitter for you guys. Jay is actually in the same town as he is. And he was like, I'm floored. And it was one of those things that if you went on Twitter last night, like you felt the sadness. Like it was a sad, because Elias, I got to talk to him one time. It wasn't even an interview. It was like in passing at an event. And he was the dopest dude. He was like super nice and everything. I was like, God damn, this guy gets in there and whoops ass, and he's like just a dope dude. I don't know if you guys have any favorite moments with Elias. Whichever one you guys got, go for it. But for me, it's that like walking through the halls. I forgot what event it was. He was walking somewhere, and he was just like taking pictures with fans, fist bumping everybody and everything. It was actually really dope. So really, really sad news to hear. And as you guys can see on the screen, there is a GoFundMe for his. He's got 2. His parents set up 2 nonprofit organizations to help out people with, obtaining medical cabinets, cannabis and all that stuff. So, I don't know, whichever one of you has a special Elias memory, go for it.
You could go ahead if you'd like, Alex.
Yeah, no, he was always nice. Always fun. He was always fun with the media, friendly. I personally, I wasn't a fan of his fight style, but that doesn't take away of like how good of a gem of a person he was, and like he left a mark on this planet, right? Like he left a mark. and with his, he was one of the front runners, to have this medical marijuana movement, right? And he'll always have that behind his name, and with that, I think it's just going to keep going forward and forward. It's just heartbreaking. 34 years old is just way too fucking young. And anyone that I've heard talk about him just loved him. All his teammates, anyone who's talked with him, all of his close friends. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I don't have too much in terms of personal interaction. I never got to cover him, and just he never really crossed my orbit directly. I do know a bunch, and just everyone, like Alex said, speaks well of him. Definitely spot him at events. That that hair, man. I mean, he might have better hair than all the women and Uriah Faber. You get what I mean? It was hard to miss him there, and just respect to his willingness to have fun with the branding, being the ring boy at Invicta.
That was awesome. Awesome.
It's like, you know what? It's like, why not get paid, have fun? Yeah. I look good with my shirt off. It's like, you know what, man? All right, you do you, right? And I think that really, like, if you're gonna get paid and you already work out and look good, why not? So I respected that a lot, and like I said, everyone who knew him just like, we lost a chill guy, we lost a nice guy, we lost a guy who went out there and was one of us, and in that way, the community, it's never an easy thing to hear, So my thoughts go out to everyone, the Invicta family, obviously his family. I believe he was Canadian, right? Mm-hmm. Just everybody around him. Just my condolences.
Yeah, it's super sad like news to get, but he left his mark, so that's something a lot of people don't get to do. So I'm glad he did. And if you want to support the GoFundMe completely, if you're able to, optional, obviously, you can check it out. Go to his Twitter. It's on there to support his two, I think it's a Theodorou Foundation. I forget the name of the other one, but he's got two foundations that they are raising money for. So rest in peace, Elias, and thanks for everything, man. All right, folks. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we get out of here?
Good to go.
Nothing?
Follow Cageside Press everywhere because we still have content every single week, every single fight. One PFL, Bellator, UFC. It's all there. Every day we have content. We have Jake Paul, Anderson Silva stuff on there today. So just always beating the drum. Go check it out. It's one-stop shop. As much as we can bring it to you from all the major shows, we have it.
Yeah, and from this last weekend, video from me today on, chopped up, all on Instagram, all on Twitter, all on TikTok. We're on TikTok as well. I can look this up and follow. Especially the Nate stuff. A lot of funny stuff from Nate. Wet shoes, calling Khamzat names, all kinds of stuff from Nate. Definitely go check it out. And obviously, Dana White's post-fight reaction. So check that out. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Cageside Press on everything. And Facebook, by the way. All right, you can follow Gabriel at Double G on TV. Alex is at Alex Behunin. He's the one with the check mark. Make sure you guys check both these guys out. I'm at Elias 32, and of course at Cageside Press for everything. Enjoy, you guys. Enjoy. Oh, freaking Bruce. Sorry, Bruce showed up late to the comment section. All right. Leave out one for Keyboard Warriors, Bruce. All right, chill. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll catch you guys next week. See ya.